It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. My lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold.
Good morning, everybody. Today is August 25th, and I want to welcome you to episode 27 of Coffee and Cloud Native. My name is Adrian Goins, and if you're new to the show, then welcome. Every night well, if you're not new to the show, welcome too. I said that because those of you who are regulars who come here, you have to listen to me do my intro every day. So I thought that, I thought I would just welcome other people too. So if you don't know who I am, and you don't know what I do, and you don't know why you're here, welcome anyway. Every night, I and my army of bots scour the internet for news and content related to Kubernetes and Cloud Native, and every day you'll find me here to share the bits that I find interesting. This is a curated list of content. And it's funny, as I look around, I see that pretty much everybody who has a show like this says the exact same thing, but it's true. All of us collect huge volumes of information that we have to sift and distill and analyze and stuff. So I go through about 200 submissions every night, and I select a handful of them for the next day's show. But I have a lot for today. These are the tools and the products that I myself would use. So I want to share them with you because I think they're cool. Obviously, I can't use them all. So I'm hoping that some of you use some of them and, that we can talk about them or gloat or something like that. Who do we got in the chat? Where's my chat window? Hey, good morning, Peter. We have Nuno, Ariel, and Chris Wojtek. Cześć. If you are watching, come join the chat. It's in YouTube. The end. So I'm going to ask actually a lot of questions today. So get your little typing fingers ready because I want to have some back and forth. So let's get started. I don't have my glasses on today. My glasses are so totally destroyed that I think I'm actually doing damage to my eyes by wearing them because they're like scratched and stuff. So I'm always like, eh. So I'm trying to retrain my eyes to actually use them less. Anyway, what do you think, huh? We have stuff. First of all, hey, look, it's me. You recognize that background? I released a new video yesterday on 5 ways to install K3s. K3s is super popular. I love it. I use it. I started a video series about upgrading my home Rancher environment where I went with a DQ Lite for K3s, which is their embedded HA SQLite, which doesn't work. It was super experimental. So I had to rebuild the whole thing, and I filmed it, and I show a bunch of different ways to install it. So please check that out. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family. K3s is so easy to install. Everybody's mom should have a K3s on a Raspberry Pi sitting next to the microwave. How's that for a life goal, huh? Next. Ooh, I remembered how to change browser tabs. Let's see, was it shift page down? Nope, control page down. Ah, look at that. All right, so next we have Avatao, whose T totally looks like I need to scroll the browser up. It's a bad font choice. A friend of mine yesterday said that his company just bought licenses for this, so I went and took a look at it. And it actually looks pretty cool. They teach developers how to be more secure in the code that they're writing. It's all that shift left stuff that we talk about. And it's designed with hands-on labs and challenges. So developers, they develop code. They try to do the best that they can. They don't necessarily think about security like we super operator nerds do, who think that we're out there, in the Wild West with our swords and our shields and our guns. So this company will come in and help educate developers with hands-on real-world stuff to get them thinking about security. So they've got workshops, hackathons, CTF events, stuff like that. They also have a free tier. Take a tour on our platform. Nothing there. Not my fault. I don't remember where their pricing page is, but you can, let's see. See Avatao. This is hard. I looked for this last night. Pricing plans. There you go. If you go to the pricing plans, then you can see the free tier, which it says basic access. They don't clarify what that means, but it's free. So there you go. You don't get individual statistics. You don't get premium access to the full library. You don't get customization. You don't get squads, but it's free. And if you work in an organization where you think this might be helpful, or if you're using them, please let me know how they are. Well, Hey, Chris says he watched my K3s video about halfway through. Why only halfway through? Is it too long? It's only 17 minutes long. But he said that he's going to rebuild his home lab with K3s. That's fantastic. Hey, good morning, Trix. Yes, fashionably late. Oh, because you were watching my video. You, sir, you are forgiven. You have a pass. Where'd my notes go? eks-auth-sync. Okay, so EKS uses a config map to link IAM users, well, IAM accounts with users and roles inside of the cluster. And usually that's not a big deal if you don't make changes. But if you use an EKS cluster where you're constantly making changes, that can be annoying. So these guys created a tool that syncs that config map with other things. The source data can come from what they call mappings. And if I jump over here to their other page, mappings. So you can pull directly from configurations. You can actually create a config that says, hey, connect this IAM account to this user inside of the cluster. You can also have it pull the same thing from files on disk if you don't want to apply manifests directly. You can have it pull directly from IAM. So you can set that up. Or you can have it pull from SSM, and you can run it as a job or a cron job, and it'll keep all of your IAM users in sync on your EKS cluster. I thought that was a super cool tool. Keep having to look for this control page down thing. It used to be control tab in Firefox, and now control tab will switch to another browser window. It's not helpful at all. I gotta move my notes. My notes keep getting blocked by the browser. All right. And now I'm blocking the chat. That's no good. I gotta work on my workspace here. Good morning, Tej. Welcome to the show. I didn't scroll this one to the top. Secret Manager. Oh, yeah. Okay. Custom resources inside of a Kubernetes cluster, they provide a lot of different functions, but I'm seeing them used a lot of the time for abstraction, where there's a bunch of different similar functioning back-end utilities, and somebody will write a CRD that allows you to consolidate them into some abstracted interface, which I think is a great use. That's what Secret Manager is. Secret Manager currently only supports Vault, but so it's kind of the same as using Vault, but they want to add support for AWS Secret Manager and GCP Secret Manager. Okay. The idea here is that it will abstract away a back-end secret store and give you a standard way to pull secrets into your Kubernetes cluster. They have a bunch of examples, and they show using it directly. It will do automatic renewal of secrets, so it'll periodically pull the backend, and if the secret has changed, it'll pull it into the cluster and update it. And then you can do stuff with templating, and there's something else down here at the bottom. Ah, yes, and it'll do mapping. So if you have a backend secret that has multiple key value pairs, it'll actually just pull all of those in and turn the secret, instead of a one-to-one, it'll bring all of the keys and all of the values in and apply them all here, like that. What do you think? Is this valuable? Is it better for abstracting Vault? Is it worse for abstracting Vault? Is it only valuable if you're using multiple secret stores? Let me know in the chat. Michael says I need to cover kube-ssm. Okay, I'll make a note. Kube-ssm. Note made. I'll check that out. Since we're already talking about Vault, HashiCorp updated their Vault Kubernetes integration yesterday. This isn't super big deal. It got updated to 0.5.0. This is the integration between Kubernetes and Vault. I say Kubernetes? Between Kubernetes and Vault. They added some minor features and improvements. Let's go bounce over to the changelog really quick. Most notably, they added telemetry support for Prometheus, and shrink my notes field here. Telemetry support for Prometheus, which is here in GH145, and which you can not activate. It requires a telemetry path value, and so if that's not there, then or a flag, so it'll ignore it. And then also, injected agents now have a read-only root file system, so that sounds good as well. Do any of you use AWS Systems Manager? Those of you who have clusters out in AWS? Keep asking you guys to tell me things in the chat. Nobody's telling me anything in the chat. If you use AWS Systems Manager, this is a service for AWS for automation of infrastructure nodes and policy enforcement on managed instances. You can, like, the easiest thing you could do with it is you can actually use it to generate a temporary user account on a host so that you can SSH into a host, and you don't have to actually user when you're done. So it's a pretty slick tool. But what if you didn't want to install their agent on all of your nodes because it needs to be there? Well, for that, you have eks-auth-sync. I'm going to go with that. I created the kube-ssm agent. This runs as a daemon set in your Kubernetes cluster, and it enables node level actions. So the docs show using it to connect to nodes and get a shell via the AWS SSM start session command. Yeah, so here you go. And he recommends, of course, that you delete the daemon set when you're not using it. So the way that you would use this is you would deploy the daemon set, and then you would access it. So you deploy the daemon set, and then you would access it via the AWS SSM command, and then you would get your shell access, you would do what you need to do, and then you would exit, and then you would just delete the daemon set afterwards. I found this, and then from this I found another thing that does something similar, but it tries to do it with SSH keys, and I didn't like the way that that one was written, so I'm not going to show it. But from that one, they pointed back to something else that I almost made the tool of the day. It's by the same guy, and it's ridiculous. I'll show you this. So this is a pod that leverages the Linux nsenter command to escape out of the pod and onto the host. I mean, you have to run it in privilege mode and stuff. It's not really an escape, but it is an escape. So after you check out the repo, let me actually switch to my shell here. So after you check out the repo, let me make sure I'm on my home cluster here, so I'm not going to do this. Yeah, so there you go. K01, K02, K03. These are the ones I built for the video today. You simply run nsenter node.sh, and then you provided a host name, and it creates this pod spec, applies it, and boom, I'm on the host. So it runs in privilege mode, and it binds it. I don't actually even know how it works. It's just ridiculous. So there you go. And then when you're done, you exit that, and the pod is automatically deleted. So if you're not using AWS SSM and you still don't want to maintain SSH access and authorized keys and stuff like that, you can make sure that you're connecting to your cluster with an account that has the ability to spin up privileged pods, and there's nsenter. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I love finding things that are just so smart. Like this guy was like, oh yeah, we can just do this, and now my life is easier. Awesome. So awesome. Thank you, Alexi. Let's check the chat. How is Secret Manager different than GoDaddy Kubernetes external secrets? Well, it's not called GoDaddy Kubernetes external secrets, for one. I often encounter that kind of a question, not from you guys, but as I'm going through stuff, I'm like, how is this different from something else? And I wonder frequently, for example, I keep running into manifest scanning utilities, or utilities that scan Kubernetes clusters for CIS benchmarks and best practices and stuff like that. And they're kind of becoming boring. Like when I first found them, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I found another one and another one. And now now I look at it and I wonder, why did somebody build this when there's already 15 of them out there? I get it if you're building it because it has additional things that the other ones don't do, but where there's a, in the Venn diagram, there's massive overlap. I think it would be better to find one that's open source and contribute your changes to it, so that we're not all trying to, grow the same flowers, or I don't know what the analogy would be. But so we're not wasting time building the same thing. Let's try to build something and make it better. So I haven't looked at Kubernetes external secrets. I think it might have been mentioned in. I know I don't have the. Yeah. Okay. So check this out. This project is inspired by the great work done by the contributors over at GoDaddy, Kubernetes External Secrets, and JetStack Cert Manager. It's meant to take some of the best ideas from both projects for managing secrets. I haven't looked at Kubernetes External Secrets. I don't know what from here overlaps it, and I don't know what he took from Cert Manager, but whoever wrote this, I keep saying he, I don't know who wrote it, but whoever wrote it feels that they can do something better. Bill says, sorry, I'm an infrastructure guy who's in between jobs and trying to learn as much as possible. New to the kube scene. Hey, well, welcome, Bill. This is a great place to learn about tools and cool Kubernetes stuff. But if you want to learn about Kubernetes, I teach an Intro to Kubernetes and Rancher course every other Thursday. You can get to that from Rancher. Or actually, if you go to the Rancher YouTube page, there's a bunch of previous ones listed there. You can just watch any of those. There's one from like January of 2019 that's actually pretty outdated, but it's got something like 36,000 views, so I just leave it up there. And there's one from August that has like 20,000 views, but watch some of the more recent ones because I think they're better. Peter says, I have a feeling I'm about to get tasked with deploying Kubernetes in AWS. Coworkers are attempting to deploy OpenShift in AWS. Boo. And and apparently the powers to be are not impressed. Yay! Yeah, okay. Well, when you get to that point, hit me up. Let me know. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And Michael says, I helped set up an else cluster? I think that might be a typo. He helped set up a cluster from GitLab for a friend, but couldn't afford it myself. EKS cluster, yes. But couldn't afford it myself. EKS is expensive. Especially like the control plane, 20 cents an hour. Maybe they dropped it to 10 cents. I think they changed it. It's just expensive. Mo says, does the secret manager notify the deployment object in case the secret changed? Secrets are updated. Secrets are like config maps. They're updated in line. So when they change, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that when they change, it'll be updated automatically, and it's your job to detect that. It doesn't look like it changes the secret name like Customize would do, so you're not going to get a rolling update, but you probably don't want things randomly updating anyway. But it should just be updated in place. And Peter says, for what it's worth, I've already been name dropping Rancher. Yeah, dude, we're there. We're in. We'll hook you up. Next up. Oh, we already did that. We already did that. Ooh, QuestDB. Do any of you use this? I've never heard of this. I love finding things that I've never heard of. There's so much. For everything I know nothing. So do you run a time series database? You probably do. I use Graphite here at home, largely because in a different project I was using Graphite's like, they have like a mod rewrite equivalent where it can receive metrics on a particular path and then rewrite the path to something else before inserting them. So we had stuff that was coming in with these really big, long, stupid, crazy paths, and I would just rewrite them. But I'm not particularly attached to Graphite. I found, okay, so Kai says QuestDB is really, really cool. I found this, and I saw, so query our demo data set with 1.6 billion rows, and you can query it in milliseconds. So that caught my eye. And then this is super impressive. It speaks. So the problem with this is like, if I want to go from Graphite to Influx, I have to change all of my stuff to go from Graphite to Influx. So when I find something like QuestDB, I'm like, oh, I got to go from, this to that. But no, their ingest speaks, where is it? I don't know where it is. Okay, so their ingest speaks Influx wire protocol. Their their query speaks Postgres. So you can just, everything speaks influx. Just use your tool, set it to influx. QuestDB is like, yeah, I'm happy to take that. And then you can write SQL queries against it to pull the data back out. It has a drag and drop web console where you can just drop your data in and then start querying it. This looks fantastic. Apparently they were number 3 on Product Hunt a few weeks ago. So congratulations on that. I went to Product Hunt last night. I never go there. I went there and I'm like, Kubernetes, and it just gave me garbage. But not just garbage. It gives me garbage with like blinking icons. So my whole browser is like super annoying. I spent about 8 seconds on there before I was like, you gotta go. Now, Raw Code wrote a guide on, on how to deploy this on Kubernetes. Yay. So if you want to get started with this, there you go. I'll have this linked in the video description. It talks about how to deploy it, how to get it up and running, how to like run queries against it or do ingest with Telegraph. And then down below, he gets into like a more detailed deep dive into the Helm chart and the various values and stuff like that. I would gladly swap Graphite out for something that's smaller and faster. These guys claim that QuestDB claims that they're lightweight and blazingly fast. So I am definitely going to check this out. Andreas asks, maybe off topic, but what is your preferred programming language for cloud native development? I am not a developer. I am a bad developer. I write system administration oriented scripts and I do most of my development in Python. But that's just me, and I only do that because I know Python. So if I wanted to go write something in Go, there's a heavy lift associated with learning it, and these are perishable skills. So if I learn Go but I don't use it all the time, I'm going to forget it, and then that's time lost. I already know Python. Most cloud native stuff that I see is written in Go, but pick the thing that's best for you. It depends on what you're building. If you're building an application, Go seems to be popular right now. I see people doing stuff with Rust as well, but I've never even used Rust. So all of you in the chat, please let Andreas know your preferred programming language for cloud native development. Michael says bash. Don't confuse the boy. I like writing in raw assembly. Hexadecimal is your friend. How about Delphi? Delphi, right? What was it? Visual Pascal? COBOL. Yeah, okay. We're moving on. Yeah, so Quest. Quest is also open source. What's not to love? Dataiku. I started playing with Dataiku yesterday. I would make this larger, but apparently Forbes feels that the white space on... Oh, there we go. Okay. I was making it bigger and it kept getting smaller. Dataiku has raised a Series D round of $100 million. They had a previous valuation of $1.2 billion. They won't say what their valuation is now, but it's a lot. I started working with them. They were on this show last week, and I started working with them yesterday to do bot analysis and to learn how to do this data science, machine learning stuff that I just feel compelled to learn. And their application, the DSS, is really cool. They also have an academy. I don't have a browser window for it, but they've got a whole learning series that results. It's like the Rancher Academy. You can get certified, and it's videos and practice lessons and demo stuff. Super, super cool. So I'm glad to see that lots of other people are impressed with them. And when you look at what their product is and does, it's not really a shortcut, but it's a collaborative tool for data science that splits the roles and responsibilities between coders and what they call clickers, which are the people who just like to use the UI. When I think of clickers, I think of Last of Us. And clickers are they're the terrible zombie things that are like, and they're really hard to kill. I don't think that's what they meant. Clickers probably don't do data science. Zombies, at least. Anyway, they have this tool, and they do, it's kind of like the Rancher model. They want to get you to where you're actually able to do stuff without a lot of the slog through the mud that is necessary to get there. But their CEO, this fine gentleman that I have on the screen right now, has a quote that I thought was wonderful. Okay, we provide tools to enable analysts, data scientists, and employees in general in order to enrich data rather than developing a solution by themselves. It might be a function of origin. Being French, we are lazy. So we want to do as little as possible. I love people who poke fun at themselves. I frequently do that. I love recognizing, there's not an apologist statement. It's like, why should we work harder than we have to? Let's, a lot of people get bogged down in the process, in the what they're doing, and forgetting that the objective is actually to get to the finish line so that we can then do other stuff. And this product has that baked into its core. So I love it. I'm going to spend a lot more time with Dataiku. I now know how to pronounce it. I still want to say Dataiku. I'll probably screw it up. So, yeah, if you're doing anything with data science and machine learning, please check them out. Let me know what you think. We're going to jump to the tool of the day in just a second here. And tell me what you think about this new format. I'm trying to make it more chatty. Anything that I don't cover, I'm not going to be like, oh, I only have 12 seconds to get through the last 5 items. I'm just going to punt that stuff to the next day. I'd like to have more interaction with all of you. So tell me what you think in the chat. We got go. Andreas, you're welcome. Kevin wants me to check the Slack channel. Okay, what Slack channel? I'm in the Rancher user Slack. I'm in the Kubernetes Slack. I'm in the... So Kevin, tell me where. Nuno says, I'm even less of a developer, so YAML it is. Okay, all right. And Nuno also says, got the email for Rancher KubeCon swag, soon a Cowmeleon t-shirt. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, those of you who checked into the booth, you'll get a follow-up email that asks us where we can send you swag. I don't know. I don't actually know if they're going to have Cowmeleons as the brand. You see those circulating around social media. So if you want to use it as a joke, that's fine. Like if you want to just post it yourself. The only thing is I've seen it pop up sometimes where people are using it as the new representation of Rancher, and that's not correct. So, you can just use it casually, but if you're posting a Rancher logo, if you're talking about Rancher, please be sure to use the official Rancher logo, which you can get from our brand assets page. Assets. All right. Tool of the day. The tool of the day is actually a 2-part tool of the day. Today is part 1. In order for me to talk about tomorrow's tool of the day, I needed to talk about this. Vertical pod autoscaler. This automatically sets requests, and my notes say it sets requests and usage. That's not actually correct. That makes no sense at all. It sets requests and limits on workloads in Kubernetes. I don't know why my brain just froze there. So we've looked at things. We talk about how requests and limits are important for capacity planning, for scheduling, for Kubernetes to understand the actual subscription of workloads on nodes, and for you to understand what's going on there and be able to scale your environment up as appropriate. But they're really hard to get right because, you go and deploy something. You're like, I don't know what this is going to use. So do I just randomly make something up? Some people do. Do I put nothing on it? And then I promise I'll go back and look at it later, but I never do. That's my strategy. So we have something like Megalix that we had last week who will watch your cluster and make recommendations. They're an external SaaS solution. Vertical Pod Autoscaler is a solution that you can run inside of your cluster that will not only make recommendations, but it will actually make adjustments for them. It's a little weird to get it installed. You can run it in a recommendation mode. So when you install it, it doesn't actually do anything yet. You have to enable it on workloads, and then you can enable it in recommendation mode or in actually go and do something mode. I recommend that you recommend only until you see what it's going to do, unless you turn it into a chaos engineering tool. It will automatically upscale and downscale stuff, which I thought was pretty neat. So it'll observe, and as it makes the changes, if something is regularly hitting a limit, it'll scale it up. But if it's not getting close enough to that, it'll scale it back down. And when it does its scaling, if you have a ratio between requests and limits, which a lot of people do, it will maintain that ratio as it makes its adjustments. This is part of the Autoscaler project out in Kubernetes. It's called Vertical Pod Autoscaler, and it is today's tool of the day so that I can show you tomorrow's tool of the day. So if you want to see that, you got to come back tomorrow. All right? Foreshadowing. Yeah. So that is it for today. Last check of the chat. Good morning, Sasha. A cliffhanger. That's right. Yeah, it's like Breaking Bad, except Game of Thrones. It's like Game of Thrones, except nobody dies. So anyway, that's all today. I will have all of the links in the video description and the Git repository about a half hour after the show ends. I need to change my text there because I always say as soon as the show ends. But anyway, about a half an hour after. If you follow me on Twitter, you get a notification when that happens. If you have something you would like me to consider for the show, hit me up and let me know. My contact details are in the video description, or you can tweet with the CNCN hashtag and I will pick it up. Of course, if I mentioned a tool that you use, please tell me in the comments. Find me on one of the Slack channels that I'm in and let me know. And of course, if you liked what you saw today, click the like button. Nope, it's over here. Click. Oh, it's gone. Click. Oh, no. It's like Game of Thrones, except Adrian dies. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell, get your notifications when the next show starts. I am here every weekday. You know, eventually I'm going to have to take a vacation. And I haven't decided, like, when I take a vacation, if I'm going to take a week off, do I just not do the show for a week? Do I pre-record them? That just seems like more work. Do I do them anyway? I don't know. And this is season 1. When do we have season 2? Should I do season 2 after like 50 episodes, take a week off, and then come back for season 2? Should it be like season 1 forever? I don't know. I haven't really decided. Let me know your thoughts. But anyway, until we figure that out, I will be here every weekday as long as there's something to talk about, and there's always something to talk about. So come hang out with us. Let's have a good time. Thank you all for joining me. I will see you in the next show. Have a great day. Keep learning.